Holly, thank you. Talk to you soon. Voluntary assisted dying is now legal across the nation, but some doctors are reporting difficulties when it comes to the way that advice is given. Joining me now is the independent member for Curtin, Kate Chaney. Thanks for your time. You've introduced a private members bill. Can we start by explaining to our viewers what's the gist of it? What's the core purpose of what you're seeking to change?
So as you said, voluntary assisted dying is now legal in every state, and telehealth is embedded as part of our health system. But because of an anomaly in the Commonwealth Criminal Code, health practitioners are actually at risk of criminal prosecution if they use telehealth for any aspect of voluntary assisted dying administration.
And from what I gather from reading your brief going into this bill is basically you need to change or make explicit that voluntary assisted dying is not suicide.
That's exactly right. So the Criminal Code says that you can't use a carriage service to incite suicide. And on a technical definition, because there's no legal definition in there, they've interpreted it as suicide is intentional self-killing. But there's a huge difference between taking your own life because you can't see any other way out versus a rational decision you've made when you're terminally ill, you're in intolerable suffering and you've considered all the options. So it's really just clearing up in the Criminal Code that VAD is not suicide and so it's not against the law to use telehealth for
What's the feedback you've received from others in the Parliament? Will this receive support and are there risks involved by using telehealth for a doctor or a medical practitioner to oversee someone through this process?
Well, every state framework for voluntary assisted dying has strict conditions and checks and balances, and they will still be required. So you still need to request it repeatedly, at least 3 times. You need to be assessed by 2 medical practitioners. There's a process laid out under each state legislation, and that will still apply. In terms of support, this has come up repeatedly at the State Attorneys General meeting, and every state wants to see the Act amended so that practitioners are protected and people in regional and rural areas have equal access. So I'm hoping the government will take that on board and fix this little anomaly.
There are some harrowing examples that you've referenced as well of people having to drive for hours in terrible pain to tick the box, basically, by seeing the doctor face to face.
It's really heartbreaking. We've implemented VAD laws because we respect choice, compassion and dignity. But requiring people to travel long distances in their last days doesn't show them dignity or choice. They should be spending quality time with their families, not driving for hours to meet a doctor in a car park and pick up a script.
Just a quick one on some other matters. We've had this polling, the latest in a series actually of public and private polling that shows the government's tax backflip has been well received. People like it. Is that what you're picking up in WA?
Well, I think that there is a strong need for cost of living relief, and that's really what this move is. There is also a need for broader tax reform, and I hope that in the lead up to the next election, both sides, the government and the opposition, will put their thinking caps on and come up with some serious tax reform that addresses our structural deficit.
It takes a bit of bravery, though, doesn't it?
It absolutely takes bravery, but we actually need leaders who are willing to be the adults in the room and think about the long term rather than just dishing out the cuts.
Kate Chaney, member for Curtin, talk to you soon.